and let us all do we can to build a better future.
So the Daily Beast is covering a situation that we talked about, as did everyone else, a week ago. And there was that heated argument, confrontation between Briahna and her co-host, Robbie, in regard towards the conflict that's taking place between Palestine and Israel. And the article is titled, Israel-Hamas Conflict Spills Over in Newsroom Shouting Matches. Where is our leadership? One staffer at the Hill reported. So apparently, there's somebody from the Hill who, I guess, privately reached out to the Daily Beast. And the article goes, well, anchors at the self-described centrist cable news channel News Nation blasts BSDNC for supposedly pandering to far left in its coverage of the bloody Gaza conflict. The network's corporate cousin faces its own internal drama over a host stringent criticism of Israel following the Hamas terrorist attack. Briahna Joy Gray, co-host of the Hill's online morning show Rising, has drawn fire from staffers at the Beltway political outlet for what some described as her pro-Hamas fringe commentary. So I will continue more into this article, but it's very important that we go back in time. I want to give a huge shout out to these individuals who managed to at least capture this video segment. I'm going to bring up two examples of this video with this conversation between Briahna and her co-host Robbie. So let's go ahead and pull up this video. First, shout out to Soul Construct. Let's pull up this video. Now, Robbie's going to lose his cool here. He's kind of going to be a little bit angry, a little bit hangry. So let's play it.
To make the case for why Hamas's acts are horrible and tragic, there is still this embellishment, and I believe it is rooted in a desire to strip humanity from the people of Palestine and justify doing what Max Miller and a number of other officials in the Israeli government have said,
Max Miller is an obscure Republican official. It does not matter what he says.
So every leftist, wait a minute, Robbie, every leftist in America was asked to apologize for some random protest.
They should apologize. They should apologize for their endorsement of terrorist attacks on innocent Israeli civilians, just as I am outraged by the retaliatory actions that are killing innocent Palestinian children everywhere. I care about both of these things and have said I care about both of these things over and over again. It is you and the idiotic leftist terrorist sympathizing people who do not care about the dead Israelis. They don't.
So I'm a terrorist.
And they've said it over and over again. Black Lives Matter has said.
Now, hold on. Again, Robbie, a lot's happened since you had the little temper tantrum. Robbie, look, there are points where I love you, man. There are points where I love you. However, I don't think you had your morning coffee or your little croissant or whatever it is that you eat or prep up to get ready to do your morning show. After all, doing a morning show is a tough gig. You know, it's not an easy thing to do. It's not for the faint of hearts. However, you're making this broad accusation. Everybody on the left approves of this. No, look, let's be clear here. This is a horrific conflict. Innocent people are suffering, and after everything that we have witnessed, I can confidently say there will never be peace within our lifetime. We were fools to think of it before then, all the years ahead, like maybe peace can happen. And there was the possibility. There was that window. It did exist. But I don't think it's ever going to be achieved. And what everyone's right now talking about, and let's be clear, is the overall destruction of Gaza and extermination. You call it a genocide. Hell, it is. With the Palestinian people. And it's madness and insanity all around. Children are dying. Innocent people are suffering. And war will be eternal. Forever wars will be eternal. And Robbie, you're making this broad accusation that everyone on the left should apologize. Look, there are news anchors in corporate media that are being sidelined or silenced or fired. I talked about it. You had not one, but 3 Muslim anchors on BSDNC kind of lose their anchorship positions. Now, corporate media is saying, oh, we're rearranging things, low ratings and all of that other stuff. Okay, BSDNC, I mean MSNBC. You could run with that story. You have an example of 6 people with the BBC who have been, well, terminated from their jobs. You have a cartoonist from The Guardian who made a satirical image of Benjamin Netanyahu, who's been let go after what, 30 plus years with the outlet. You have models being threatened. Take for example, because we'll play the rest of Lil Bobby's little meltdown because we want to focus back on somebody trying to fire Briahna Joy Gray, which is absolute BS. For example, this is an article from RT just to trigger the vote blue no matter who crowd. We see you, Israel tells pro-Palestinian supermodel. All right. Now, Gigi Hadid, whose father is Palestinian, said that offering support to the people of Palestine is not a sign of backing Hamas. She's correct in that statement. You know, hey, let's make a broader statement as whole. It's something that I'm going to take from Donald Trump, of all people. I just want people to stop dying, okay? Because there won't be peace in our time. Check this out. The Israeli government has accused American model Gigi Hadid of turning a blind eye to the events that sparked the war between Israel and the Palestinian militant group Hamas after the 28-year-old posted a message of support for the Palestinian people on social media. Keyword, Palestinian people, not Hamas. There's nothing Jewish about the Israeli government's treatment of Palestinians. She is correct. Hadid, whose father, Mohammed Hadid, is Palestinian, wrote a temporary Instagram story over the weekend to her online following of almost 80 million people. She added that condemning the Israeli government is not anti-Semitic and supporting Palestinians is not Hamas. Wow. And of course, the Israeli government said, hey, we got our eye on you. Case in point further, Playboy bans adult model, Mia Khalifa. Got to be careful because YouTube guidelines. YouTube, you kind of been a little bit super fast on the censorship. Mia Khalifa was sacked for calling the Palestinian militants freedom fighters as they launched their assault on Israel, and many of her groups that she's been associated with have let her go. And Playboy says, we have a zero tolerance. All right. And so, again, people are being silenced and suppressed. Kicked out. You have corporate media. You have private citizens. You have corporate media going after people. And so, Robbie, listen, you want to make this overall general statement. And whoever is at this Hill, the staffers, by the way, of what? Being critical of Israel? That's being bad? No, it's not. Israel deserves to be criticized because right now, a bomb looking like it came from an airplane struck a hospital with 500 people in it. So, you know, I don't know what else to call it, but a war crime? Hold on. Let's go back to Robbie getting a little perturbed again.
It is you and the idiotic, leftist, terrorist.
But you're going to call us fascists?
Sympathizing people who do not care about the dead Israelis. They don't.
So I'm a terrorist.
And they've said it over and over again. Black Lives Matter has said it. The Harvard students have said it. The DSA in various locations have said it. The left endorses what Hamas did. They do. They endorse it.
The Harvard newspaper said exactly what the editorial page of Israel's major newspaper said.
I don't give a Briahna.
Okay, well, that's clear that that's your opinion. But the Israeli voices in Israel who are getting killed because their fascist right-wing government decides to keep 2.3 million
The Israelis are getting killed because a terrorist group targeted them. And they bear responsibility for what they did.
Well, Robbie, if you think you know more than Israelis in Israel, then you can feel free to have your position. But the position of Israelis who are the ones that are being victimized by this terrorism is that the fact of stripping the rights of 2.3 million people in an apartheid state on their border are conditions
justify terrorist attacks on civilians in those towns.
Do you think that justifies terrorist attacks?
No.
But hold on, because I want to get back to that article. Now, Briahna Joy Gray tweeted this out. A reminder of what caused all the fuss, defending Palestinians' right to resist occupation under international law and calling out the lies told by Biden and others to justify Israel's disproportionate response and genocide against Gazans. So let's play this because, again, someone's trying to get me fired from the Hill by leaking to the Daily Beast. So let's play this video.
The condemnable action is the killing of civilians and innocents. The condemnable action is not resistance itself. That is something that is worth a distinction. And if you create conditions, every defender of Israel right now is saying, well, killing Palestinian kids is collateral damage. That's what it means for Israel to defend itself, that it's going to kill some Palestinian kids and innocents.
And I have criticized that every time it has appeared, has come across our screen.
What the United States of America did was to stand at a podium and say, without any caveats, Israel has a right to do that, to defend itself, even if it means killing those innocent women and children. And what people are responding to is the inconsistency with which the lives lost that are innocents are treated. And yes, it matters infinitely more that a sitting Congress member, and by the way, also Lindsey Graham, it wasn't just Max Miller, it was any number of Republican Congress members. Lindsey Graham also echoed the sentiment that we should level Gaza. He wants to go to nuclear war with Iran. That's the situation we're in. And so you're sitting here criticizing whoever runs the Black Lives Matter Chicago Twitter page. And I'm criticizing members of Congress who are openly
members of Congress too.
Who are openly contemplating genocide against a population of 2.3 million people, half of which are children.
I have criticized that over and over again. I will continue to do so. Lindsey Graham does not represent my views. I don't share any views with Lindsey Graham. His foreign policy is everything I think the Republican Party should pivot away from, and the Democratic Party, frankly, which is more bloodthirsty than the Republicans on this.
You keep saying that you criticize this stuff, Robbie, but
I do criticize. I don't hear a lot of criticism from you of the leftist groups endorsing terrorist attacks.
I don't think the leftist group should endorse terrorist attacks.
Well,
no one is endorsing anything. I think people are just fed up, afraid, and scared. And what we are witnessing now, as this conflict continues on, is a massive wave of anyone who's critical of this conflict being censored, being silenced, be it private citizens or people who work for corporate media. Never forget, Katie Halper used to be part of The Hill. Then she was let go. Don't forget that, again, there's 3 examples. For example, The Guardian. You had a cartoonist from The Guardian fired. You have 6 people from the BBC getting let go. And you have 3 Muslim anchors on BSDNC being pushed aside. So even if you work with corporate media is going to silence you. I find it ironic. Now, we need voices like Briahna Joy Gray out there because we cannot let the media, the establishment, dictate to us how to think and how to feel. Otherwise, the news is going to be more and more of people like Rachel Maddow. And I can't stomach that, and I'm pretty sure a lot of you can't stomach that either. Because corporate media doesn't care about the social events. It just wants to read the news or tell you what to think the news is and then move on and keep you not asking questions, just to move along, and that's it. Stay stagnant.
They are.
Wait a minute. Well, okay, and I don't agree with that. But what I fundamentally do agree with is that they endorse the right to resist. And you keep sitting here saying, I support.
What does that mean?
I support the occupation. The same way that if Israel has the right to defend itself, Palestinians also have the right to resist under international law. You are not allowed to keep people in an apartheid state and an occupied condition.
You're not allowed to shoot randomly into people's cars because you don't like the political situation.
You're not allowed to bomb humanitarian aid workers and Palestinian children.
I agree. You shouldn't do that.
Okay. So why is it that it only comes out they're not allowed? Israel has the right to resist, and it is violating international law. That's the subject of the conversation always. Palestinians have the right to resist.
And has violated.
Well, talk to Bibi Netanyahu about it, because it's him.
Again, you're acting like I haven't criticized him all 3 days.
Why is it every time there's an effort to get to the root cause here? Who caused Hamas? Bibi Netanyahu. Who's killing these children? Who's keeping this occupation?
Who is endorsing what Hamas is doing? The American left.
No, that's not it. Oh, obviously this video was done by Briahna Joy Gray. So mom is texting Briahna Joy Gray right now.
That's insane, Rob.
Well, it's true. It is insane, but it's true.
That is so
I can see their statements. Okay. Everyone knows it, and everyone understands.
So again, to be clear here, shout out to Lee Camp. Israel gives a warning for everybody to leave the hospital because they're going to bomb it. They then bomb it. They then say it was Palestinians bombing their own hospital. Who exactly still believes this garbage? Which then leads up to this point right here. Someone's trying to get me fired from The Hill by leaking to the Daily Beast. I've been incredibly proud of my coverage of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict on The Hill, and I'm glad to have an opportunity to represent my view that is too frequently erased from corporate news. Also, all my quotes in this article are based, as they should be. Because, let's start from the beginning. Turns out, there's some shouting matches in the newsroom. Goodness gracious, Cretaceous. Make sure the kids are not in the room to hear all this violence. Well, anchors at the self-described centrist cable news channel News Nation blast BSDNC for supposedly pandering to the far left. That's not ever going to happen. I'm really getting tired of people on the right saying that MSNBC panders to the left. They don't. It's like people saying Chicago's a communist utopia. No, it's a corporatist utopia. Chicago's a hyper-segregated city. There ain't nothing socialist about Chicago politics. It's all corporatist. It's all about the dollars. But anyways, that's a different subject for another day. So anyways, as News Nation blasts for the supposedly BSDNC for supposedly pandering to the far left in its coverage of the bloody Gaza conflict, the network's corporate cousin faces its own internal drama over a host strident criticism of Israel following Hamas terror attacks. Briahna Joy Gray, co-host of the Hill's online morning show Rising, has drawn fire from staffers at the Beltway political outlet for what some describe as her pro-Hamas fringe commentary. Now, you saw those two videos. Nothing about that was pro-Hamas. Nothing about that was fringe. During the recent broadcast, she has gotten into extremely heated and sometimes profane arguments with libertarian co-host Robbie Swove after Swove's belief that the American left, namely Black Lives Matter and Democratic Socialist America, is backing Hamas. Okay, fine. Besides getting into literal shouting matches with her co-star, the former Bernie Sanders press secretary has faced internal criticism for, as one Hill's newsroom source put it seemingly, finding ways to justify Hamas actions. Now, we could play the whole 30-minute video. She's not justifying the actions. However, again, according to international law, if people are being occupied and oppressed, this is according to international law, people have a right to resist. Hey, I didn't write the law. I didn't write the law. In broadcast last week, Gray fumed over conflicting reports about whether Hamas terrorists decapitated babies, suggesting it was a propagandist lie to dehumanize Palestinians and justify genocide. She also seemed to downplay the killing of Israeli children, describing it as part of combat. We also have to hold space for 140 Palestinian children who have been killed in the last weekend of conflict, Gray said on Wednesday. And it's awful, even if we don't have the same images of them, and even if they were killed from bombs from the sky instead of hand-to-hand combat. She's correct in that statement. Another point of contention is how she appeared to equate the terror attacks with Palestinian resistance to Israeli oppression of Gaza. Violence is not a violation of international law. Resistance is not a violation of international law, she declared on Thursday, referencing the American Revolution and the Ukraine war as analogous situations. I pronounced that wrong. Apologies. Additionally, her comments about Israel's long-standing tensions with Palestine raised some eyebrows. So few of our conversations get to what it means to have a Jewish state, what it means to have belief that you cannot be safe but for having a demographically rigged situation like that, she stated in the episode on Thursday, adding that she understands the obviously historical conditions that make people feel that way. Now, of course, several Hill reporters expressed concern over Gray's reckless commentary, worrying that her status as co-host of their morning show would make their job talking to lawmakers in Washington, D.C. harder. Oh, so there's some Hill reporters. They got to have that access to those politicians. You know, those scumbag politicians who do insider trading, who do, corrupt activities. So Briahna Joy Gray making some commentaries is going to make their jobs harder. Well, guess what? You're a journalist. You're a reporter. Your job's supposed to be difficult. Your job's supposed to be a struggle. It's not some cakewalk where you get some warm cookies and a blanket, a nice glass of cold milk. No, your job's supposed to be tough. A job of a reporter, of a journalist, isn't to be friendly to these politicians, isn't to be friendly to the top 1% or people in power. You're supposed to make them crap their pants. That's the job, baby. If you don't like it, get out of the kitchen. That's the job of a journalist. But hang on again, just for the people in back, so you can hear it. Several Hill reporters expressed concern over Gray's reckless commentary, worrying that her status as co-host of their morning show would make their job talking to lawmakers in Washington harder. Where is our leadership? Clearly, no one from Nexstar is paying attention, one source said. There is no way they would be okay with this. Goodness gracious, Cretaceous. Oh, what? A lawmaker is sad? Too bad. The American people don't like these lawmakers. What, their approval rating is what? 10, 11%? I remember a while back there was a poll, right? What's more popular in Congress? When cockroaches and STDs supersede popularity over our politicians, it's okay to make these politicians feel bad. They don't deserve to be treated with respect. When's the last time a politician cared about any of us? They don't like us. They don't think about us. They don't respect us. And they work for their corporate donors. But oh, wait, the same people control our politicians, control the media. Notably, the uproar comes just a year after The Hill ditched longtime Rising contributor Katie Halper for calling out Israel as an apartheid state over its treatment of Palestinians. And don't forget what they did to Kim Iverson, too. In fact, the program has been a source of controversy and friction at the outlet for some time and has seen a fair share of its hosts leave abruptly. So someone's trying to get Briahna Joy Gray fired, which is stupid. I think she's done a phenomenal job. I think she's done a great job in standing up for herself. I think she's done a great job in explaining the situation that's happening in the conflict between Israel and Palestine. And she should not be fired. I didn't like what they did. I didn't like what The Hill did to Kim Iverson or Katie Halper either. I think that they should not have been fired either. They've done phenomenal work. But when I say that the censorship is all too real, it is, believe me. It is getting all too real. And it's not going to be letting up anytime soon. The jackboot of censorship is alive and well. And, well, I want to think that things will get better. But in my humble, honest opinion, Briahna Joy Gray did nothing wrong. And, you know, when you have somebody on a network, on a platform, giving a different perspective, I think it's important to know of what we're witnessing happening in Gaza. Utter destruction. And, you know, obviously Biden is there speaking to his buddy, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, who, mind you, was already having a tough political situation because he was losing control of his government. And he's still not popular, but he has emergency powers right now. But when I say something like this that's been deleted, and I want to give a huge shout out to this person who managed to at least get a screenshot before the tweet was deleted. Thank you to Shoot On Head. Prime Minister of Israel. This is a struggle between the children of light and the children of darkness, between humanity and the law of the jungle. It came out on the 16th. That tweet has been deleted. Listen, folks. I want to say that things will get better, but probably not. I want to say that maybe we can actually have real proper journalism in this country, but I won't. And I, for one, have to say shout out to Briahna Joy Gray for speaking truth to power and never back down. And Robbie, listen, have a Snickers bar, baby. You get a little hangry if you're doing the morning show. Have a little snack, and you'll smile. Maybe that way you won't spaz out as much. Maybe.